So not too long ago, I did a video on the previous CSGO major, Antwerp, and I decided that that was quite a fun video. I enjoyed making it. It was good. So I decided, why not do it again? But this time, better. But first, I've just got to change out of this because this is it's a sensitive topic at the moment. Right, there we go. Right, let's get right into it then. So, as you can see, here are all the teams in the Challenger stage. So, we've got some obvious ones here. I'm going to go through all of them, like I did last time. Tell you a little bit about them, why I think that they're good, why I think that they're not so good. It's going to be fun. So first of all, you got Vitality. You can't really go wrong with Vitality. Right now, they are HLTV's #1 in the world. I think they kind of deserve it. You've got some quality teammates here. You've got people like Zywoo. You can't go wrong with him. Right now, he is popping off. He's probably the best player in the world right now. Simple's had a bit of a shaky start, but you know, we'll see how the major goes. Simple could activate in this major, and it could just be a whitewash. We don't know that yet. You've got people like Sphinx. I don't know much about him. I know that he's been doing bits for Vitality. He used to be on ENCE, I think it was. He did decently on ENCE by the sounds of things. Obviously now he's on Vitality, taking up, I think it was Masuta's position. And he's, like I say, he's been doing bits. You got the dynamic duo, Magisk and Dupree. We don't need to talk about them. They're just beautiful people. Dupree, who you've probably heard, he's been in every single major to date. I think he's the only player that has, seen as though the rest of Astralis didn't get in. I don't know if they were either. I think Zip might have been the only other player, potentially. I'm not sure. And then Magisk, obviously, always just a good call. Apex, we love the boy. He's amazing. All good. Do I think Vitality have a good chance of winning? If Vitality don't get into at least the playoffs, I think that's going to be a disappointment for Vitality. Do I see them being in a semi-final? Maybe. Do I see them being in the final? I'm just saying, if it's a Na'Vi and Vitality final, I'll be happy. Moving on, we've got Cloud9. Not much to say. They've been doing bits again. They've been doing alright. It's the exact same team as last time. There's not much to say. I think they've been doing decent, but, you know, they're a bit of a wild card. You never know what's going to happen. They could get stomped by a certain Swedish team who are popping off right now, or they could go to be one of the top contenders. If they're not in the quarterfinals at least, I don't know. I'll be a little bit disappointed. I want to see them do well. I had a bit of a tantrum with them last time, but I think that this time they could do a bit better. They've had a little bit of time to settle into the Cloud9 name now. They're not Gambit anymore. They are Cloud9. They could do all right. Outsiders. They're an awkward team. They used to be really good. They used to have Yakindar. They've still got Jame. They've got Flint. Flit, not Flint. Flit, I think. I'm not sure about the rest of their team. I haven't really followed Outsiders very, very closely, so they could be good. I want to just check how they did in the RMR. And I'm on the wrong page. That's just fucking brilliant, isn't it? Okay, so during the RMR, they beat Heroic, so that's always a good sign. They got beaten by Na'Vi. They got beaten by OG, which is quite interesting. Do I think that bodes well for them? Not really. OG are coming along, but we'll talk about them in a minute. I think they stand an okay chance, especially since they beat Heroic. Any team that beat Heroic at the moment is got to be up there in the decent players. So I'm going to take it as they have potential. They definitely have potential. FURIA, good team, just good team all around. They've been doing bits. Art is a great player. I don't know. FURIA is just one of those teams that I always assume are going to do well now because they never seem to slow down. Like, the only sort of mishap I remember them doing in the last major was that they lost to Spirit, but Spirit came in really strong at the last major. They were doing bits. So FURIA, if they can pull it off this time and get into the quarterfinals again, who knows? It could be a Brazilian finish to this major. We never know. We never know. MOUZ have been a weird one. They've really come out into their own recently. Like they had a little stint at Stockholm, obviously the major before Antwerp. That was doing pretty good. This new roster, I say new, I think it's fairly new. I haven't really kept up to date with MOUZ either. I'm sorry. They've been decent though. I've heard good things about MOUZ. The fact that they got into this major is pretty good. That's the wrong one again. I'm doing a great job. MOUZ, obviously, they took on OG and won. Went up against Navi. That's not a bad scoreline. K23, kind of an easy game, beaten by Vitality. Okay, so during the RMR, they did bits. Like beating OG was a good start. But then they kind of, no offense, they did have a bit of an easy ride here. Like K23 and Sengal. I don't know about that one, Chief. I don't know about that one, Chief. It did seem a little bit easy, but you know, I'm hyped to see what MOUZ can do. They're definitely a team that deserves to be in this major, I think. Yeah, I'll say that. OG, I used to really like OG back when they had, you know, Alexi B, NBK, Man2, like that first OG roster. That was a fun roster to watch, even if they didn't really ever do anything good. They didn't win anything, let's be honest. But this new roster with Nexa, I always liked Nexa on G2, and when he moved over to OG, I thought that was an interesting move, but you know, I was all down for it. Flames has always been a player that I've sort of watched from one place to another. Quite an interesting. Dexter, obviously, he was on Team Spirit for the last major, I think. I think he went to Antwerp with Spirit, I'm pretty sure. Oh, was that Stockholm? No, it was definitely Antwerp. Definitely Antwerp. Probably. The other two players, I'm not going to try and say that one, I'm sorry. Neofrag, I think they could be okay. If we just go to there it is. If we go to this page, they went 3-1, which is pretty decent. Like, second best to going 3-0, so 3-1's pretty good. They beat MOUZ, Illumina, Falcons. I'm pretty sure Falcons is the team that MBK is on now, I think, and Masuta, if I'm not mistaken. So that's good, fair play. Beating some classic heroes there. Beating Outsiders though is a real standout here. I think that could be good potential for them. Beating Outsiders is always an interesting win to have, because the Outsiders obviously have been that team that used to be Virtus Pro. I think they're going to become Virtus Pro again, if I'm not mistaken, in the sort of coming months. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Virtus Pro is also always the team that you sort of beat to progress onto another stage, as it were, or like they're the ones that you get over and it's like a big hurdle. So for OG to do that in the RMR, I think that's really good potential from them. Fnatic's an interesting one, because I liked the Fnatic roster with Smooya on it, and I wish that he would have stayed, but obviously Smooya, I don't know the details, so I'm not going to get into it, but I'm sad that it didn't last longer. However, this roster with Nikodas and Rouge, I think his name's Rouge, from Copenhagen Flames fame, who had a decent run. Yeah, that was in Antwerp as well, I think, that Copenhagen Flames were in, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was, yeah. It's not that long ago, I should remember. This new roster with Thrasher, obviously Mezzi, I think Mezzi is the IGL of this team, showing a bit of the UK spirit there. I really hope Fnatic do well. If they get into the Legend stage, I'm going to say that I'm proud of this Fnatic team. Crim's obviously been the veteran player in this squad. I really want Fnatic to do well. I really do. I think this team right here is a solid team. You got a really good AWPer in Nikodas. Mezzi, by the looks of it, being a decent IGL, obviously getting through to the RMR. If we just quickly take a look in their games, they beat Aurora. Overtime against FaZe, they beat B8. 2-0'd Eternal Fire, that's pretty good. Fair play to them. And then obviously 2-0'd, 1 win. Not the best, obviously 3-2. They only just made it into the major, but I mean, it's better than what G2 did, let's be fair. Big clan. I wanna say that they're gonna do well. If they don't get into Legends, I wanna say I won't be surprised, but at the same time, with players like Tabs and Seus and like you want them to go through, but obviously this major is gonna be a bit difficult for them. They're playing with a stand-in in Sin. I'm also kind of disappointed that Sin hasn't had his autograph sticker in the game. Whether that's a fault on his part for not submitting it early enough, or if it's a fault on Volvos, if it's a fault on Valve's for not including it, then whoever's fault it is really shit. Like, if I was a stand-in for any team in the major and I had the chance to get my sticker into the game, I would be disappointed that that's happened. I would. I feel so bad for Sin in this situation, but at the same time, getting back to the main point, do I think Big's going to do well in this major? It's hard to tell right now. I want them to do well, but we'll see how it goes. Imperials! The first of the Americas teams in here. So Imperial is the Last Dance sort of project that Fallen kickstarted. Obviously, they went through some difficult challenges in the RMR. If we just take a quick look right here, they went 3-2. They were on the verge of being knocked out. I can't remember who it was now. I think it was. I wanted to say it was Complexity, but apparently it wasn't. Oh no! It was. They're on the verge of being knocked out by Complexity, and they just made it in. And if I'm being honest, I kind of wanted Complexity in this major. They've been doing bits recently. Their roster has been one that I've quite liked. All of these players I've liked. I've liked Grim since he was on Liquid. Floppy was ex-Cloud9 back when Henry G started up that Cloud9 project, the Colossus project, I think. Holzer, I can't remember what team he was on now. I think it was Triumph or something. I can't remember. But he was an interesting player. JT, I think he was also maybe on the Cloud9 roster at some point. Fang, I don't know much about. But anyway, I wanted this team to win. I shouldn't go ranting on about this team for long because they're not in the major. I'm sorry. But I wanted this team to win. But if I'm being honest, would I have rather had Complexity or Imperial in the Brazilian major with Fallen doing his potentially final major of his career? I'm sorry. I've got to give it to Fallen. I have to give it to the Brazilians. I want this team to do well, just because of the storyline. If there's any storylines in this major, I want Fallen's team, I want Imperial to go all the way. If they can get into the final, unlikely. Very unlikely in my opinion. I think all of these players have had their moment in the sun. Well, maybe not all of them. Fallen for Bolts. I think Bolts is... Oh no, he's not a previous major champion, is he? No, he lost to Gambit in that major. Never mind. Wow. But yeah, Fallen and Fur, obviously legends in the game. Vinny, a new talent with Cello. I think Bolts, Cello, and Vinny. If Fallen and Fur do decide to go their separate ways, even FNX, like the last 4 names on here, get 2 more players, you've got another solid team there. So I mean, even if you have like Fallen and Fur as like coaches or people for this team afterwards, like teach up a new squadron, a new talent, that'd be cool. Do I think they're going to get out of Legend stage? I'm sorry. I don't think they will. I want them to for the storyline, but I don't think they will. EG. EG's had a rough time. They've made some very, very interesting decisions, starting with like Stewie 2K and all that drama. They've got fucking 3 squads. They've got, I think it's EG White, EG Black, and EG. Like... I don't know. I don't know where I fit on that whole thing. I don't really like it. But the fact that they got into this major is really interesting. Automatic, obviously, this is another major for him. He's been in it. He's won. Sorry, I think. Was Automatic on the winning roster? I think he was. Yeah, he was. Yeah, with Stewie and that lot. Breeze, obviously, of X... Actually, no, he's been on EG for a long time. Never mind. Yeah, Cirque and Breeze have been on EG for the longest time. Nealan, I don't know much about, and Hexed, I don't know much about. I don't think this is a team that's going to go very far. I feel like this is one of the teams that could be a contender for 3-0. Sorry, not 3-0, for 0-3. But I think they have potential of like maybe 1 or 2 games depending on who they go up against. BNE are fun. BNE have been that weird team in the last couple of years. They've gotten into Antwerp, and they've obviously gotten into this major. I don't think anyone really expected it from them in Antwerp, but now that more people are getting to know BNE, I think that it's definitely it's definitely a wake-up call for some people. This team needs an org. If any org out there is looking to start up CS, like if 100 Thieves want to come back into CS, boom, buy this org. Buy this fucking roster. That's all you need to do. Easy money. They've been showing time and time again that they can do. They can play up with players above and beyond their skill level. This last the RMR, they beat out Eternal Fire. They lost against NIP, who are looking really fucking strong right now. They lost against they beat Astralis really fucking hard. Like that was an L for Astralis. Big sad. Lost against Spirit, which again, their team's still going strong. And then obviously won against FaZe, which you can't say much against FaZe, but I'm pretty sure they also beat Astralis. Yeah, they 2-0'd Astralis. So FaZe also looking strong in the RMR, but obviously BNE with a better team here. So BNE, amazing potential there. Amazing potential in my opinion. GamerLegion. I don't really have much to say about GamerLegion. I'm sorry. The only thing I can say is Acor. I've sort of watched Acor's career for a little while. He was on MOUZ. He was on Mad Lions. I remember seeing his name pop up when talking about MOUZ and such. And I think he was also in the running for a little while. When he was on MOUZ to be in the running for the Opera of Astralis. But I never thought that would happen. Like it's one of those rumors that you just hear and think, nah. Getting into the major though, that's really big for him. Obviously big for all of these players, IEM and the rest of the gang. I'm not going to try and pronounce these names, I'm really sorry. Another Brit in the coach, that's always nice to see. Do I think GamerLegion are going to do well? No, I wouldn't put them as one of the picks to go through, but I also wouldn't pick them to go 0-3, so they're a very middling team, I think, personally. Double A Nation, we've got another Brazilian team. All of these players... yeah, I don't know what to say. You've got Coldzera, you've got Taco, you've got previous major winners here. You've got Try, who's pretty sure is a younger talent on this team. Lato, Damu. There are these last 4 again, same as Imperial. If the top 2 decided to retire, then you've got a decent start to like a new Young Guns team going on here. Could be interesting. In the RMR, they had a pretty good show by the looks of things. They only lost to 9Z, which we'll get to them next, I think. Icarus, I don't know anything about them. They beat Imperial, which that shows like two like last dance veteran teams here in Coldzera and Taco and Fallen and who else was it? Fallen and Fur. I always forget. I'm sorry. That really shows. So Double A Nation, probably the favourite over Imperial, if I had to guess. Definitely in a best of 1 by the looks of things here. And then obviously they beat Complexity too. So could be an interesting team. Again, would I put them to go through as one of the teams to go through to the Legends? Hard to tell at the moment. We'll have to see where we put those near the end. 9Z, another one of the teams from the Americas. I don't know a great deal about any of these players. I think I said this in the last like rundown of all the teams that I did. I don't know much about 9Z, but just judging from the fact that they've beaten quite a few of the bigger names, they beat okay, they didn't beat EG. that's savage right there. But they beat Double A Nation, they beat Imperial, they beat ATK, which who's on ATK? I think Motum is the only one that I actually remember the name of, so I can't really judge off of that. But Double A Nation and Imperial, the fact that they beat those are really big. I think that's great. Then we move on to the other ones. Oh yeah, sorry. 9Z, by the way, I think are one of my picks for going 0-3. Sorry. Moving on to the last 2, we've got Grayhound. The Aussies, probably the closest thing other than Mezzi I have to like home soil. I know it's Australia. I know it's literally the other side of the fucking other side of the fucking world. But like, you know, they've got the flag. That's New Zealand. Amazing. That's Australia. But like, they're the closest thing to brothers we have in this major as a British person. Mezzy is the only Brit here, so if I'm not rooting for Fnatic, I'm rooting for Grayhound, I guess. Grayhound in the Asian RMR, which was a little bit different because it's literally just like this. Grayhound got beaten by IHC, and got into the major by beating. I'm not going to try and pronounce that one. I'm sorry, but yeah, both of these teams kind of, for me. I mean, Grayhound, I think that they definitely in contention for the 0-3 pick. Not much to say about them. And then finally on the challengers front, we have IHC coming from Mongolia. Again, another team for my 3-0. However, I'm pretty sure that their first game, IHC, is against EG. So that's one down already. I think EG could probably beat IHC, maybe. Going to Grayhound again, that's also a knockout there. So it's anyone's guess who's going to be the 3-0. I'm sorry to say that about both the two Asian teams, or the Asian RMR teams, but I'm not seeing big things from either of these two teams. I'm sorry to say. And then just before we finish off, I'm also going to go through the legends. So we've obviously got, everyone knows, it's FaZe Clan. FaZe Clan obviously won the previous major at Antwerp. They're coming into this one a little bit rocky. If we quickly just have a look at their games here from the RMR, they did go 3-0. However, one of the only full games that I watched of the RMR was the FaZe versus GamerLegion one, and I only watched this because I was waiting for the Astralis game after this. Was it Astralis? I think it was. No, it was the NIP game, sorry. I think it was the NIP game. It was one of the two. Anyway, I watched this, and GamerLegion really showed that FaZe were on rocky ground. Whether it's just like the wild card of GamerLegion, or if it was FaZe looking a little bit fickle, they really made them play for this. But again, going 3-0, despite going the distance with GamerLegion, they still got 3-0. They beat out Fnatic and they beat out Sprout 2-1. Are FaZe coming into this major strong? I don't know. I want to say yes. FaZe, this roster that FaZe has right here, you can't go wrong. You've got some great players here. Definitely one of the top teams at this major. They 100%. If they go all the way, get to the final, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Not even close. The next one's an interesting team because we've got Liquid. This Liquid roster, I would be genuinely upset if they don't make it to the playoffs. Quarterfinals minimum. If they don't make it to the quarterfinals at minimum, I will be disappointed. This team right here with Yakindar, OC, Elige, Nitro, Naf, this team I want to succeed because this is amazing. Like, the firepower brought in by Yakindar to this Team Liquid roster has skyrocketed them. They are doing so good right now. They're number 3 on HLTV rankings. They're bossing it. I really want them to do well in this major just to show how well NACS can do if you give the right roster. Of course, we've got the GOAT. Simple. Natus Vincere. I want this team to do well. I've got them on my shirt, mainly because I only have 2 team shirts and one of the teams didn't make it in. So, guess I'm wearing this one. But besides that, Na'Vi have obviously been the big dogs for quite a while. They were in the final with FaZe last time. They won the Stockholm Major. Simple is still firing on all cylinders. In this RMR that they were in, I think Electronic had, I think it was against Illuminar. Electronic had one of his best performances and one of the best performances in Counter-Strike history. Let me just quickly get this game up just to check. 41-10. Boy, if you're doing 41-10 and the next guy up from you, Simple, is doing 15-4, my dude, you're bossing it. Like, you're going into this major hard. Like, Na'Vi are definitely a team that you want to watch out for in this major. You want to watch out for them all the time. They are the fucking boss. They are the final boss, in my opinion. If you go up against Simple and win, you've beaten the boss. That's good for me. Like, if they don't get into at least the semi-finals, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. I have no idea what to tell you about that. I'm sorry. Heroic. Heroic. They're definitely an interesting team. I think they had a better form for the previous major. However, if we quickly just take a look at the RMR, we will notice that they went 3-1. They beat Saw, which, I'm sorry, kind of an easy game that. They got beaten by the Outsiders, which obviously, again, is an interesting one. They can be good on a good day, they can be bad on a bad day, and vice versa. They beat Sengal, which I've never heard of, I apologise. So that's kind of a given for me. I don't want to be mean to these teams, but teams like Sengal, Fantasy, Heat, Monte, I don't know. These teams that I associate with being not as good, I see as kind of an easy one for these like A-class teams. It's like A-class teams going up against like C teams. No offense again to them, they work amazingly hard. It's just how I'm choosing to describe it here. If I was on a C team, a C-class team, I would not complain at all. If I was on this F-class team, I wouldn't complain. At least I'm doing my bit. Anyway, besides the point, they also beat Big 2-0. I think that is pretty, mind the pun, big. But yeah, beating Big 2-0 is pretty good. Going 3-1 again, also really good. They're going strong. They're going strong. Their latest inclusion to the team, I think it was, I don't know if it's pronounced Yabi or Jabi. I'm going to go Yabi. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. I don't speak Danish. Yabi is a great addition to this team. I think he is also of Copenhagen Flames fame, I believe, from the previous major. So that's just amazing. I'm glad that he found a position on a full Danish roster. Again, I suppose because obviously Copenhagen Flames was a Danish roster. Yeah, Heroic I see could be an interesting team. We're just going to have to see what happens when they obviously get playing the game. NIP. The last major, they did decent. They did. I was really proud of them. This major, they've had a bit of a mix-up. They've taken Plopsky out of the mix. They've added Alexi B. This is my favourite team of the major. I'm sorry. In the RMR, they went 3-0 against Astralis, BNE, and Cloud9. That's big. Cloud9 is a strong team. Going 3-0, sorry. Going 2-1 against Cloud9, amazing. Absolutely amazing. BNE as well, beating them out, amazing. Astralis, rip Astralis, I'm sorry. This team right here, S-Tag, Rez, Hampus, Alexi B, Brolan. S-Tag, my second favourite player who I've ever... probably third, actually. S-Tag, my third favourite player. I don't know why he's my favourite. I loved him when he was on Astralis. I loved him when he was on the C9 Colossus roster. I felt so bad when he was on that Complexity roster that fell through. I think he was on the Complexity roster that fell through. Yeah, yes, he was, yeah. That Complexity roster who fell through. And then obviously Alexi B. Alexi B has been one of those players that I've wanted to see do well ever since he got kicked from ENCE back in 2019. When he went and joined with OG, I really hoped that team was going to go places. I really did. Alexi B is one of my favourite players. He's my second favourite, I think, of all time in CS. Number one we'll talk about in a little while. But Alexi B is up there. I want this team to do well. If this team can get to the Legends, if this team can get to the playoffs, I will be beyond happy. This team is probably my favourite in the whole tournament, and this is the team that I want to win the major. Will it happen? I don't think so. I don't think they've got quite what they need yet, but they are looking incredibly strong with Alexi B at the helm. Hampus popping off where he can, now that he doesn't have to worry about doing as much IGL stuff because Alexi B's here. I think he can really flourish on this team. Rez on the AWP. I haven't seen much of Rez on the AWP, but if they trust him to use it, I trust him to use it. Team Spirit. I don't actually remember a great deal about this team in the RMR. They beat 1win, which was kind of fair. That was the team that Flamey was on. They lost to Sprout, they beat GamerLegion, and they 2-0'd BNE. So they are a fairly decent team going in here. Obviously, they made it to the Legend stage. They've got Wonderful, I think his name is. I want to say he's the new AWPer who took over after Dexter. They've still got the main core that they had during Antwerp, and obviously that team managed to get all the way to the semi-final, I think. They beat out FURIA, who was in the quarterfinal. Yeah, they got to the semi-final. So if they can pull off another miracle run again, Spirit could easily get to that position again, and who knows, Spirit could be a dark horse in the playoffs. They were last time. There's no reason why they shouldn't do this time. A lot of people would sell them short, but I think this team could go far. It's completely possible. ENCE is a weird team for me because I don't have that much faith in them. I think I spoke about this one in the Antwerp major where I didn't really have much faith in ENCE. And I can't remember what their team was there either. You've got Snappy, you've got Valda, who's a new addition, Madden. I think Sunpius might be the AWPer, I'm not sure. You got Diker and yeah, I don't know. This team's a weird one for me. I don't really have much to say. If we could just have a quick look at their performance, they did go 3-0. However, like I've mentioned before, Heat, Falcons, I don't consider being like top tier teams. It's kind of been like given a free ride through the RMR. I'm saying that as if I'm a pro CS player who could just beat anyone. I can't. I mean, if I went up against anyone in Heat or in Falcons in a 1v1, I'm dead. If I had my own team and went up against them, I'd be dead. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying for ENCE, these teams you kind of expect to beat. If you're ENCE, you expect to beat a team like Heat. You expect to beat a team like Falcons. The surprise here is going 2-0 against Big. That is a pretty decent achievement, and I do feel like it puts them in a nice, stable place for this RMR. That's all I can really say for them. They're in a stable position. I don't think they're going to make it to the playoffs, but the fact that they've got a place in this major is good enough, I think. And then finally we've got Sprout, which again is another weird one. Obviously, with Yabi going to Heroic, they had to kick someone, and that someone had to be Refresh. Now, no matter what Sprout do in this Legend stage, which, first of all, Sprout getting to Legend stage is pretty good. Like, well played to them. Like, let's just have a quick look on the old scoreline here. They beat FaZe, they beat Spirit, which, again, like I said, Spirit could be a dark horse for the Legend stage. The fact that they beat them is really good. The only team that they lose to is FaZe, and you kind of expect that. But even then, they took one map off. This could be a real, like, what's the word I'm thinking of? This could be an underdog sort of thing. Not an underdog, a dark horse maybe? Maybe. Yeah, we'll go with that. This could be a real dark horse team, just like Spirit did at the previous major. Sprout could easily come in and do bits at this major. Like, the fact that they've got to Legend stage and took a map off of FaZe, who I think at the time were the best team in the world, because I think between the RMR and now, which I'm currently doing this on the 25th, I think FaZe were the #1 team, and then Vitality took it off them not too long ago. But the fact they got a game off of FaZe, really well played. They could do great. I'm not seeing them in the playoffs, but you never know. So now you're probably wondering, what have I done for the pick'ems? Now, if you've watched the video so far, you'll understand what teams I'm going to put where. So obviously I'm going to go for the diamond coin, so I'm not going to take too many risks here, but I think I'm just going to, play it safe. Vitality, definitely going to go through. If they don't go through, I think it'll be a massive upset. Same goes for Cloud9. Vitality, Cloud9, easily going through to the next stage, in my opinion. If they don't, it'll be very disappointing. Along with FURIA, again, they managed to get through to the quarterfinals last time. They have the same core roster. I don't see why they wouldn't make it through. After that, it gets a little bit spicy. Who am I going to put here? I think, personally, I'm thinking Grayhound for 0-3. I'm sorry to say it, but I'm thinking Grayhound for 0-3. I really don't see them beating many people. Ooh, who else? Who else could I put here? I think OG have potential. I think OG definitely have potential to go through. Along along with Fnatic as well. I think they could go through. Outsiders, again, it's one of those teams that you don't see not going through to the Legends, but you know they've had tumbles, but I think they're still a decent team. The last two positions are kind of difficult because who do I think would go 3-0 and who would I think would be the perfect pick for here? Well, if we look through the teams, Double O Nation looking pretty strong right now. I'm not going to say Imperial because they had a very difficult time in the RMRs, especially against other teams such as Double O Nation, and I'm pretty sure they lost against 9Z as well. So Imperial, I'm not going to put here. I'm not going to put down here. IHC, they were a contender for 03, so I'm not going to put them up. Double O Nation, I think I might have to put them here, but we'll just see. GamerLegion, I don't see them coming into this. It's strong at all. I'm sorry, I just don't. The only other team I can really see, maybe MOUZ. I don't know. This is difficult. The last two positions are difficult for me because I don't think EG will. It's against Big, MOUZ, and Double O Nation in my opinion. I think BNE. I don't know if BNE have what it takes. Maybe they could go 03, but at the same time they could go 3-0. It's a complete 180 difference. I need to check the stats again. I can't do this. I need to check the stats again. I don't trust myself not checking the RMR stats. Let me have a look real quick. I think I'm just gonna bite the bullet here. I'm gonna go for. I don't know. Double O Nation, MOUZ. I think this is it. Here's the strategy. Boom. That's what I'm going for. That's what I'm going to stick to. We just got to hope now that this all goes well. And that's the end of the video. I've really enjoyed doing these sort of things. This video I've been wanting to make ever since, basically ever since I heard about the next major getting announced. I've thought about making a video similar to the one that I did last time for the Antwerp one. I really hope that I can make one for the next major as well in Paris, the Blast major, the first major of 2023. This is just a video that I've really enjoyed making. I love doing stupid little things like this that just show my passion for CS. Even if I don't always know what I'm talking about all the time, I like to throw my 2 cents in because it's something that I like talking about. And if you've made it this far through the video, then I just have to thank you. If you did enjoy this video, then please like and subscribe. I know it's one of those generic YouTube things to say, but please do, because it does help a lot and it makes me feel a lot better about myself. Thank you. If you could also go to my Twitch, which I'm going to put sort of here, maybe above me. I stream sometimes when I get the chance. I do have a job outside of obviously YouTube and Twitch, so I don't always get the chance to, but I do like doing it when I can. There's other content on my channel as well that are mainly at the moment, I think, sort of re-uploads of Twitch clips. So if you like to have a look at those and get a nice sort of look in at what I do, then please watch some more of those videos just to get a feel of what I do around here. And if you like those, of course, like I say, have a look at the Twitch, please. And thank you. Thank you for watching. Bye! This is an urgent appeal. We need you to help us find our lost Conrad. If you see him, please report to your local Danish team. We need to find this man and bring him home safe. Thank you for watching.